Hey everyone, it's Sabrina.
And I'm Staci.
And we are
Homeschooled by Two Chicks.
This podcast is brought to you by Vitali Inspection Services.
In our podcast, we are going to be educating and entertaining our listeners with topics such as
local businesses, real estate agents. We'll be discussing topics such as charities and the charity that was founded by Carlo Vitali, as well as talking to our inspectors and the gadgets that they use.
Do you hear that? It's Inspector Vitali and his crew. It must be time for another home inspection. I'm sure they'll check your chimney too. Look at oil tanks and radon levels. Gotta check sewer lines are clear. Termites and pesky bugs, beware. Inspector Vitali and his crew will be there.
Everyone, we're here today with Miss Keri Zoumas, fabulous, wonderful woman that we know, right, Stace?
Yes. Hi, Keri.
Hi, ladies.
How are you?
For being here.
Outstanding. So excited to be on here with you guys.
Keri is a real estate agent for Keller Williams in Robbinsville. She is a motivational speaker.
Yes.
And inspirational speaker. She does some fabulous work, and we met her through Women's Council. Right? And I met you more recently, Keri, but you've known Staci for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Staci and I are old friends now. We met, and it was an instant connection.
Yes,
She's just one of those people that you feel like you've known your whole life. And, you know, Sabrina, you're coming in right behind her. So I think the three of us are going to be like three musketeers in the future,
Yes.
especially
Kindred spirits.
Right?
Yeah. And so what we wanted to chat with you today about your roles in life outside of your real estate industry.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, the one thing that comes up for me is I've always been a person who believes in being inspired and inspiring other people. So that's why I named my company Inspire Greater Expectations, because that is really my role in life, is to help people see the bigger picture for themselves and to put themselves in that bigger picture. So when you guys met me, you met me through Women's Council of Realtors. I'll tell you a fun fact about that. 14 years ago, there was no Women's Council of Realtors in New Jersey. So 14 years ago, some friends and I met, and at that time I was working at Weichert Realtors. I was a full-time agent going to school to become a broker. And I was in broker school with some ladies that were at Keller Williams in Metuchen and some different agents in different offices. And we were talking about starting a women's council in Middlesex County as the first one in New Jersey. And I was in broker school and we did it and we got it off the ground. And now there are 7 in New Jersey going strong. And I served on Middlesex back in the first year that we were there. And then I went back in a few years ago and I was on Middlesex's board as their membership coordinator. And then Mercer County, once I could only serve 2 years, then I went to Mercer County. I've relocated here and I've worked here for 2 years. And I will be inducted into the state level as the membership director, overseeing all of the other membership directors at the Triple Play. So it's exciting to do that. And I feel that biggest role that we have in Women's Council is empowering other women in leadership. That's my favorite thing to do.
that's amazing. I'm so excited that you just told us about that, because
for Triple Play.
we'll be there and we can't wait to celebrate with you.
And speaking of Triple Play, I don't know if you guys know, but I was invited to speak. I have 3 workshops at Triple Play this year on Wednesday the 8th. They picked them all in one day, which is kind of fun because then I can probably perform. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That was on my bucket list. And speaking at Triple Play is exciting. Again, it's all about empowerment and influence. That's my favorite stuff to talk about.
Yes,
and
I agree.
that is incredible, because you help agents. That's how we met you. The first time I met you, you were speaking to agents about how to inspire them and motivate them to grow their businesses, correct?
Absolutely. And that was just coming out of the COVID crisis. And it was the first time we were all meeting in person, even though the venue was semi-outdoors.
Yes.
Which was the first one for me. So no PowerPoint, no microphone. It was interesting, but it was important that we all came together and really talked about, where do we go from here? How do we shake off the last year and a half of being isolated. How do we get back into this, into a new normal, basically? And that's what we talked about. And just in talking about our wheel of life, that's my favorite thing to talk about, the wheel of life. It's an exercise that we do. We do it in person, we do it on Zoom. And that really is looking at a snapshot of your life and figuring out, from 1 to 10, where you rate yourself in all these variables. Because you could have a great business life, but if your relationships are terrible and your finances are a mess because you don't really, pay your taxes on time. There's so many different aspects to life, and being able to take a snapshot and then setting up a goal of what do you want that wheel to look like? Like, how even do you want that wheel to look 6 months from now, 1 year from now? Because I think so many people focus just on your business life, and they forget that we're a whole person that lives a whole life with many roles. Like, you ladies have multiple roles. You're not just in the role that you're in. And you're showing a lot by doing this podcast that, hey, there's so many facets that we can improve in life.
And I think you're so right about the fact that people need to take the time to have more of a well-balanced and rounded life so that it's more fulfilling. Because how can you really be fulfilled if you're only focused on this one little piece of the pie? Like, you have that wheel and it was all these little pieces of the pie. And if you're putting 85% of your life into business and work, and that's all you're doing, how can you really be happy if you're not fulfilling the rest of the pieces of the pie? And it's a hard thing to do no matter what industry you're in. So it's great that you're doing that and helping people, not just in their personal lives, but obviously that helps them to thrive in their professional lives as well.
Absolutely.
Which is why I believe you've been asked to take on an incredibly new, important role. Is that not what you're doing now at Keller Williams?
Yes, I'm actually going to be the new pro coach in the office, which is pretty exciting. We're really teaching people how to level up their business, getting them from where they are to where they want to be, and having some accountability piece as well as role playing and things like that. I love to be able to interact and role play. That's something I enjoy doing. We're going to do everything from time management to conscious communications to, again, the wheel of life, and getting better at our craft. Being able to sell in a way that's conscious to helping the consumer and yourself, and just moving forward. So there's a lot of exciting things. And being new to the office is also quite a challenge because I don't know everyone that well. But that's like a double-edged sword. If you know people too well, it's harder to hold them accountable than if you don't know them as well. But I feel like that it's going to be a really great program. And I look forward to seeing how it's going to take on, a life of its own in our office. It's so exciting. I'm really passionate about it. Actually been taking a lot of training classes because although I've done coaching for so many years and I've done training, I was a mentor for real estate for many, many years. It's a whole new language, and being able to marry my background of coaching and training and my real estate background and having it all in one place, it really lights me up.
And it's a new challenge for you too. So it's a great way for you to take something on that's going to help to bring more information to the group that you're a part of now, which makes me think of something you said to both of us when we first started chatting about how you have this intuition thing about people. Can you talk a little bit more about your intuitions? And
sure. I have to say, it's one of the reasons why, I'll tell you a little. I'm an intuitive coach. So what that really means is I pick up vibration and I pick up language. I'm a linguist. So I pick up words people use, and it helps me identify a little bit about what's going on in their life. And there's something, I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. One of the things I teach people in coaching is when someone asks you to do something, you have to know whether or not it's going to align with what your goals are. So, something should either be a hard no or a heck yeah. Like I use the double hockey sticks, hell yeah, or a hard no. And, one of the things that I talk about is when someone asks you a question, can you do this thing? If you don't know if it's going to be a hard no or a heck yeah, like you want to stop and say, oh, you know what, give me a moment. Let me double check my schedule and let me get back to you, which I know I did with you guys. And so I practice what I preach. But the more I thought about this, and this is the greatest thing, is I thought these ladies are making an impact they're creating a ripple effect. They're bringing people in and they're creating value for people in so many different aspects. So that became a really hard yes for me. I know that I'm a little off topic of what you asked me, but as you know, being an intuitive, just because I'm an intuitive doesn't mean that I'm also not a people pleaser. So I'm doing a little bit of training on that right now. If you're a people pleaser, you sometimes override your intuition that tells you if something is good or bad. So that's a skill set that how I've mastered it is I sit with something. I don't jump in to say yes, because I'm a yes person. I say, okay, you know what? Let me just double check. Let me think about it. And then I'll sit quietly with it and say, who is benefiting from this? And when I thought about you ladies, I was like, oh my gosh, so many people benefit, because I know that you've brought in so many people and you're really paying it forward. And that is not an answer to your question, but I think a really important thing to say is that, you know, you meet people and you know. So yes, it's in the same line. I met you guys. I knew right away, you know, both of you bring so much light to the world. And I think that we need that more than anything right now. With everything we're coming out of, having a podcast like this that really focuses on growth and positivity and everyone bringing their skills to the table and doing it in a way to pay it forward. And that's really important to me. And I'm so happy you guys invited me to be on here.
It's so happy you're here.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that, you know, we've obviously been taught by Carlo. He's very much about positive energy, positive company, motivation. And, you know, it's really important that we all share with each other how we can help each other grow, not just in our professional lives, but as individuals. And I think being able to give that to each other is just really important. And I don't think enough people really focus on that aspect, especially the way the world is today, and bringing that to not just each other as adults, but like the younger generations that are growing up in this, just having that out there in the world and that energy. And you put off such this, you were saying we bring light, you bring so much light, happiness, and great energy to every room that I've ever seen you in. It's just like, oh, Keri's here, everything's great. Like, it's such a nice thing to have around, and it makes other people feel good. So thank you for what you do.
You're so sweet. Thank you guys for saying that. And again, I believe that we are creating a ripple effect. And I think that locking arms like we are right now is making a difference. And we just really want to work on empowering other people to take on these roles. You guys were like, okay, we're doing a podcast. And I remember you told me about it. And it was like the next thing you know, you're doing a podcast. Many times we have these great sparks, these great ideas, and then we pause them because we start to talk ourselves out of it. And we start to say, well, who am I to do a podcast? Or who am I to become a speaker? Or who am I to influence this person? And then I ask you, who are you not? Like, why not you? If not you, who? Like, who's going to do it? And that, again, your intuition is so strong, and we stuff them down. And I'm proud of you both for not stuffing it down and saying, this is an idea. This is gonna create, again, a ripple effect that is going to continue on. And when you guys were talking about, you know, right now your audio, it's going to be video. And I believe that you guys could really take over and create something super, super special that will have a lasting impact on the people around you. And you're very brave. That's awesome.
Thanks, Keri. And we are learning, as I'm sure you know this, we're learning as we go. We're still, you know, getting our feet under us. So having, you know, wonderful people come on and be our guests and interview like you, it makes us want to keep going. So we appreciate that too.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm going to turn the tables for a second. What type of people are you looking for to invite onto the podcast? Because one thing that I know, networking is an ever growing part of our world. And if you put it out there of what you're looking for, you may start getting some volunteers. And just to give you an example, I was invited to do some pro bono work at a high school, teaching empowerment and the leadership class. And I came in as a guest speaker a couple of times, mentioned it to a few people. They started telling people, and then they started getting a ton of volunteers. And the reason I bring that up is that could happen today. You could say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and people could start reaching out to you. So share with us, what are you looking for in a guest on your podcast?
We are looking to have people who are either in this area, small business, it can be out of this area too, real estate people, you know, small businesses, anybody who, you know, wants to get their name out there, wants to get their brand or whatever. And we're trying to teach other people how to talk to the other realtors in this area and try and figure out what else they do besides that, besides real estate. What's something that they could give to the community that can be good.
So
So
we
you're looking
also,
for, go ahead.
sorry, we also talked to, like she said, small business owners, but like anything from, you know, we have a guest that's going to be coming on who owns his own custom tailoring business in South Jersey that we went and just experienced what they do there. And it's absolutely incredible. And we met him at a real estate event in South Jersey because he's a vendor. And so we're not just talking to agents. We want to educate people about what it's like to own small businesses and or be involved in community events or charity events. Like we have our own charity, Happy Smiles. So we like to talk to people about other things that are going on in the community. We're actually sponsoring this weekend a walkathon for type 1 diabetes at Veterans Park because we want to give back to the community, you know, through Vitality Inspection Services. So we like to see what other people are doing in the community and give them a chance to let other people know what they're doing around us and educate. And we have the inspectors come on and talk about things in the home inspection industry, of course, but we try to link everyone together because like you said, networking, you never know who you're going to meet and who they're going to tell. And it's been interesting who we've had on so far in that respect.
So you're creating value through anybody who indirectly or directly touches the real estate experience is what I'm hearing. And what's great about that is it expands. I created my vendor list and I'm still growing it. And people ask you when they move into an area, who's your doctor? What do you do for fun? Like, restaurants, get a couple of restaurateurs to talk about it. Who fixes your car? Who paints your house? Who power washes? And here's the interesting thing. People forget that we are not our job titles. That's not who we are. We have an essence. And that's something that's so, like, when you ask me, like, what do you want to talk about? Because, I have multiple, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have actually multiple businesses. I didn't even talk about all my businesses. However, there's a common thread, and my common thread is I'm all about empowerment and inspiration. That's who I am. What I do is different than who I am. So when you get someone on here, you want to be able to say, hey, we're trying to create value in the world. Tell me something else you bring to the table. In creating that program we talked about for my office, there were 3 of us that are working together as a team. And we talked about it in our last, we had a little caucus in the office. And I said, it was one person was saying, I'm really not a person that likes to stand up in front of the room. And again, everyone has a different skill set. So my whole point is we all bring different skills to the table. There are certain things, and I believe when you play to your strengths, you're going to be giving a big gift to the world. So if you get someone on here who, let's say they're a stager or a decorator, asking them, how do you describe yourself? What would you say is the impact or impression you want to leave on the world beyond your job title? And I think that makes for a very interesting table talk. I'm in a couple of book clubs and we talk about things like that. Like, who are you beyond what you do? Beyond being so-and-so's mother and so-and-so's spouse and so-and-so's, this is my job title, or I've been doing this for 25 years. Who are you? And when we start asking ourselves that.
People allow their titles in life to identify them only as those titles. So it's interesting how it'll make you stop and think about who you are outside of all those titles.
Absolutely.
What you give back to everybody else just as a human being. So that's really, I love that table talk topic. Yeah. That is an amazing suggestion. Thank you.
Of course. Listen, we're all in this to grow the world together and make it a better place than we found it. That's really what we're all about. And I'm so grateful that you guys invited me on here. This has been so much fun for me because you're two of my favorite people here.
We love you so much. So this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. We know you're so busy with all your businesses. And we hope to have you back on again after you've been rocking and rolling in your new role and see what's going on. And if you can give us some more little tips and tricks and pointers.
It would
Yeah,
be
we'll
my
check in on you.
pleasure. It would be my pleasure and my honor. Thank you again. And I'll see you guys at Triple Play.
All right. Thanks, Keri.
Bye, Karen.
Take
Bye.
care.
Hey everyone, so today's Vitali tidbit is a quote by Travis Bradbury. Grit is that extra something that separates the most successful people from the rest. It's the passion, perseverance, and stamina that we must channel in order to stick with our dreams until they become a reality. Thanks everyone, be safe, be healthy, and have a great day.